In this episode, we're camping in this incredible railroad trestle from the 1800s. We are heading out for another overnight adventure. Leaving the van and the fan behind, we're parked on National Forest land. You can disperse camp here up to 14 days for free. We're heading out trying to do an overnighter under a railroad trestle. We are out here in beautiful Cloudcroft, New Mexico, 8,600 feet up in elevation. Down the mountains, the closest town is Alamogordo, about 15 miles away. Down there it's 85 degrees, but up here, 65. We came up here to beat a little bit of the heat. It's been pretty hot down there in the desert, and I gotta say it worked, man. We've been actually kind of chilly sometimes up here. We're following this gravel road. It's got a little bit left here and then we should be on trail. I think this is the way. Just so peaceful up here in the forest. At night it gets really silent besides the pine trees, whispering a little bit with the wind. And check it out. Trail leads right through this little tunnel under the highway. And they're not kidding when they talk about watching out for flash floods. Similar to the Badlands we just camped in a couple episodes ago, rain will just start pouring down all of a sudden, and water just runs off tremendously everywhere. You might have noticed I got a little bit of a lumberjack theme going on. That's because this railroad used to transport spruce and fir trees back in the 1800s, but the entire railroad's been deconstructed except for that trestle that we're trying to camp at tonight. We got about 1.5 miles to the bridge, so let's take in some of the scenery and enjoy the hike. Check out that rock wall we have over there. Wonder how old that is. Bet my grandfather would be impressed by this little rock wall. Around where he lives, they have a lot of these that are really old. He always likes to comment about how much work it probably took to make them and just wondering how old they are. Although with the wiring we got on here, this could be a recent build. Probably just used for erosion control. Just love all the plant life here. Even in fall you have so many flowers and just so much greenery here. A lot different than the desert a few miles down the road. And everywhere you look, this is all part of Lincoln National Forest, which means you can disperse camp practically anywhere. Got miles and miles of hiking trails. Some you can even ride ATVs and dirt bikes on. Also notice that a lot of the trails are really rocky like this, so just gotta watch your step. Would be easy to twist an ankle on some of this terrain. Looks like now we're connecting with the ATV and dirt bike accessible trail. A little bit wider, smoother, and just as beautiful. Looks like an elk. That is huge. Even got a little baby up there. Yeah, up here you have deer, elk, black bears. So cool to just be in their presence and watch them do what they do. Actually saw some of them right in town in Cloudcroft. Leo and Preston were really interested in them. Yeah, what do we have here? These are some useful looking maps. I think I might take a couple pictures and maybe they'll come in handy later. That is a huge fallen tree. Just look at all the rings on this one. A lot of elevation gain, so this has definitely been a good cardio workout so far. And what a nice setting for it too. And here we have one of the overlooks. Wow. It was kind of hard to find information about this trail. I actually thought it would lead to the underside of the trestle, which that's where I wanted to camp at. Don't think it would be very smart to try to camp on top of it, especially with that big gap in the middle. Seems a little sketchy. So we're gonna have to try to find a way to hike down to the bottom. How's it going?
What's going on?
Hey, do you know if you can get like to the bottom of the trestle?
There's like a trail that back that way that goes down, so I don't know. From the other side, I was over there earlier today, and you can walk down.
Okay.
And you can go down real easy.
I'm gonna see if I can maybe go down here.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I'll be careful. This is working. We made it. This is the Mexican Canyon Railroad Trestle. Built in 1899, this was part of the Cloud Climbing Railroad, connecting Alamogordo and Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Loggers harvested timber from all around the mountains here, loaded it up on train cars, and sent it all the way down the mountain. Today, this trestle is all that remains. Now, initial impressions, obviously this thing is just spectacular. It was very cozy and kind of nestled in here. Now there are a couple of overlooks and I thought we'd be a big spectacle down here. But we brought the hammock and I think if we find the right spot to hang it up, we'll be kind of tucked away and nice and private here. I'm thinking right here in the middle, looks like a pretty good spot to set up the hammock. Pretty much all this brush around here, like everything has pickers or thorns, so really being careful. Still pretty new to hammock camping, so it might take me a few tries to get this just right. Wow, this is actually perfect. It's kind of nice from here. I can't even see the overlook. Be nice and private. And first things first, gotta stay hydrated, especially after a hike like that. And for dinner, we're gonna have a traditional logger meal. They would have a lot of sourdough biscuits, top it off with some boiled or salted meat or fish. Also we had a ton of baked beans, like a lot of it. And on the side they'd have cabbage, potatoes, turnips. And that's what we got right here. First I'm gonna start off with the tangerine. Couldn't find any sourdough biscuits, but did find these locally made sourdough English muffins. Of course, we got the baked beans, we got the salted fish, in this case some salmon, we got the cabbage, we got the potatoes, and I couldn't find any canned turnips, so I think canned beets will do just fine. Yeah, you'll notice everything is canned or just easy to pack, because I didn't want to bring a cooler this time, just with all the hiking we had to do, this made it pretty easy. Man, the sun just set, it's already 10 degrees cooler, and now the slugs are coming out. I'm gonna start off by slicing up some of these potatoes. Kind of looks like an egg. Oh, this one's pretty big for a canned potato. I'm gonna see if I can get these cooked up in my titanium pot without burning them. You know, titanium just conducts heat so efficiently, a little bit too efficiently sometimes. First time trying to cook on a hammock, trying to balance everything on here. It's a little different. It's gonna be super careful. And that actually worked out pretty decently. I think I burned very little, if any at all. Just had to keep stirring and holding it up, elevated over the flame. I think that really helped. And the beets and cabbage should be a lot easier. Just toss them in and heat them up. And for the cabbage, I actually found some seasoned cabbage, which I thought would be nice and convenient. Really starting to hear a lot of noises out there now. That's kind of interesting. And get all this heated up. Normally I really don't like the smell of cabbage, but this seasoned cabbage actually smells good. Just heard a branch crack pretty close and I'm not seeing anything. That's very weird. I'm gonna heat it up pretty quickly. That's what it was. He does not seem scared at all. And there's our side of veggies. Of course, it all turned pink from the beets, just how it goes. I actually thought I brought a little packet of mayo, but I checked my whole backpack and must have forgotten it. And there we go. Will be some good protein, some good omega-3s. And get our baked beans in there. And from what I was reading, baked beans were a very important staple for loggers. They sometimes ate as much as 8,000 calories in a day. They were just that active. They really needed to put away the food. Guess that's why that was called Beanie Weenie. There's little bits of hot dog in there. First time having it. And there we have it. That is looking like a hearty meal, very fit for a logger. And normally I like to start off my meals with a piece of fruit, but I really want to eat this while it's nice and hot. Cheers. Those are some interesting flavors going on there, to say the least. Salmon and the baked beans, well, they're not bad together. I don't know if I'd make this again. I can see why loggers would eat this though. It's definitely really hearty and gives you a lot of good energy. I know that raccoon would not mind eating some of this, so I'm gonna keep my eye out for him. Vegetables, on the other hand, wow, these are surprisingly good. That seasoned cabbage, I think, was a really good call. Some great seasoning in there, and it just goes so well with the potatoes and beets. The same for you, little bro. Food I brought for breakfast, I was planning on stashing that somewhere kind of far away from my hammock. And I was gonna do that for the bears, but I think the raccoons are more of an issue. Yo! Wow, they've got like no fear. They're getting super close. Yeah, so who knows if my breakfast will make it through the night, but can always hike back and have it at the van. I think the best part of these is actually the sourdough. And this beanie weenie stuff, that's kind of a fun thing to say. It kind of reminds me of what I had in Boston, you know, traditional New England breakfast. Probably have to pick this up again sometime and, you know, not have it with fish. Something nice about being up here that kind of surprised me was no mosquitoes. Like, I haven't seen one mosquito. We've been up here like a week. And actually down in the desert in Alamogordo, a lot of mosquitoes. And something interesting I saw down there in Alamogordo, like right in the middle of town, there was this giant tarantula. Just walking right through the middle of a public park in broad daylight. That was pretty fun to see. That was just what I needed after that hike. And now I think it's time for our tangerine. Little trick if you didn't already know, if you want to make it easier to peel, you just kind of roll it around on a flat surface like this. That is just perfectly ripe and so sweet. This is just the life, kicking back on a hammock in the forest, eating a nice tangerine like this. Ooh, that was all so good. Now I'm walking all my food trash and all my food for breakfast as far away from camp as I can. And hopefully they don't find it. Try to wrap it up in plastic. Hopefully they won't be able to smell it, but something tells me they will. I give it about a 20% chance of surviving the night. If I come back in the morning and it's all torn up, of course I'll clean it up, but just really hope they don't find it because I'd like to have breakfast in the morning. Well, it's getting late. Time for bed. Did raise up the hammock a little bit because it was nice to have it a little bit lower when I was sitting down and eating, but I think I want to be a little bit more elevated tonight. Just keep out of the way of the raccoons. Although if they wanted to get to me, I think they could. Did bring my warmer sleeping bag this time because it's getting down to the 40s. That's just what I want to hear when getting into bed, is something walking around out there. I just have to get used to it. Oh, this is great. Laying diagonal is the way to go. Got the bug net on, keep any critters out. I'll see y'all in the morning. Good night. Well, good morning. Let me get all this off. That was a very interesting night under this trestle. I feel like I always say the nights are interesting, but when you're out camping, there's like never a dull night. So first thing I noticed after getting into bed is lying diagonally in the hammock. So much more comfortable. So cozy, like pretty much instantly. This is the way to go. Then maybe about 10 minutes after lying down, all of a sudden I heard this huge crash. Jumped up, got my flashlight, was looking around. Sounded like some kind of boulder crashing, so I don't think it was an animal, but... And that was not the only one. There were a few different rock falls. Thankfully where I'm at, I'm kind of right in the middle of this little canyon, so don't think we have to worry about that right where we're at. And a couple things I forgot to mention last night with regards to safety. Obviously being in a canyon like this, you can tell it gets a lot of action from water whenever it rains. I made sure there was no rain in the forecast. There's actually none for the next 10 days. And also, if I was camping under a dilapidated bridge from the 19th century, probably wouldn't be good. Thankfully, about 15 years ago, a group of volunteers came and reinforced and restored this old bridge, so it's a lot stronger now. Anyways, yeah, I was hearing rock falls. Also was hearing lots of different animals running around. Kind of hard not to get up each time and use my flashlight to see what's going on, but just had to get used to the sound of animals walking near me. Also was hearing some really cool bird calls that I've never heard before. Hopefully the mic was able to pick it up. But the biggest obstacle last night was dealing with the cold in this hammock. So it got down to 47 degrees. Really not that bad. I've been camping below freezing before. But camping in the hammock really highlighted one of the downsides of down. No pun intended. So down is really compressible, and to be warm it relies on lofting up and getting nice and fluffy. But as soon as you lay down on it, it completely like flattens and you get almost no insulation. So the whole night, anywhere my back or legs were touching the hammock, really cold. The worst part were my feet, man. My feet just got so cold. Using my hands to try to warm up my feet. I think I might have gotten a little bit of frost nip, which is something I just gotta warm my feet up again for and I'll recover. But yeah, my toes are still a little bit numb. I cannot wait for the sunlight to come out and start warming things up here. And on top of being chilly, also got really damp overnight. Thankfully I found a bolt to hang up my backpack on. And also hung my boots up from the back of the hammock. Anyways, let's get our day started. I want to see if our breakfast is still safe. Haha! We are eating good this morning. You seeing what I'm seeing? Looks like a cave cricket. I remember there being thousands of those back in the World War II tunnels that I camped in New York. Does this bolt look like it's from 1899, or do you think it's from the Restoration? Now see, this guy up here looks very original. Also, I don't know if you've been hearing the trickling water. Kind of want to check that out. Like, do we have a little creek or what? Look, literally steps away from our camp. Have this little trickling stream just sinking off into the ground. That is really cool. Yeah, had I known that, probably would have brought my filter and not have to pack so much water. Sun is finally peeking out from behind the trees. So happy I get to fuel up before the hike back. Gonna have a simple but hearty breakfast. Another meal I think a logger would eat. Gonna have some corned beef hash and another sourdough English muffin. Gonna top that off with some avocado. Got some Hatch green chili, because of course we're in New Mexico and gotta have them. And squeeze a lemon and a little bit of breakfast salsa on top. But first, gotta start our day with a banana. Looks a little funky, but I don't think it's overripe. I think it's just because it got cold last night. So, love bananas. They're just good, quick energy. Great thing to have in the morning. I have one almost every morning. It's finally starting to warm up. So nice the sun's coming out. I think it was feeling even colder than it actually was here when I woke up just because of how moist it is. Everything was wet. Felt like it was seeping into my bones a little bit. Ugh. I'm actually really shocked the raccoons didn't come across all the food. They would have totally been able to get in there and just feast. And we'll crack into our corned beef hash. And if you're wondering where half the label went, there's a little coupon up top there, so got to peel that off and use it. These slugs just find their way everywhere. You got one on the outside, you got a few on the inside. Thankfully I have disinfectant spray. I do not think we want to have any slug slime with our breakfast. I'm already thinking it's probably not going to be possible to get this cooked up into, like crispy little patties in my titanium pot, so Just do the best we can. You hear how instantly it started sizzling? That's just how titanium goes. Oh, this smells good. Putting a healthy amount of these hatch green chilies on. I think avocado goes well in almost anything. A little bit of lemon should do a lot. And some good old Taco Bell breakfast salsa. And I think these are going to be filling and delicious. Cheers. Oh, that is so good. Only thing it's missing is an egg on top of the corned beef hash, but you know, I didn't bring a cooler, so this is still really good though. Love the heat from the hatch green chilies. Love all the fresh elements working together, kind of balancing out the corned beef hash. It goes down easy too. It's been so nice to get to spend so much time here in New Mexico, just really falling in love with the state. Was actually thinking I'd be in Texas by now, but it's just been a little bit too hot, so kind of waiting it out up here in the mountains where it's nice and cool. This is such a cool find, such a beautiful part of the country. Like when I would think of New Mexico, I would not think of these mountains and being up in a forest like this. This was just really unexpected, and what a nice surprise up here. I've been liking it so much here. Even had to get a hat with the New Mexico symbol on it. Circle in the middle represents the sun, then you have 4 sets of 4 lines going outward. They represent the 4 seasons, the 4 parts of the day, the 4 cardinal directions, the 4 phases of the moon. I think there's even more meaning behind it, but you just see this symbol everywhere around here, and what a cool representation of the state. And as much as I'm loving it here, I am really getting hyped for Texas. Got something really fun planned out in West Texas. Then we're gonna head on east. Just really hope the weather cools down a little bit because I want to be comfortable and have plenty of time to explore Texas and just take it all in. Only ever been through like the northern tip of Texas, along I-40 through Amarillo, and that was cool. You know, it's a taste of Texas, but it's gonna be so cool to get down there and just explore all the different regions and different cities and coastline. And oh, that hit the spot. But look, we've got dessert. Got this nice mini concha from a local Mexican bakery. Good way to end breakfast. If you haven't had conchas before, they're Mexican sweetbread. Come in different flavors and they're all so good. Now I am properly fueled for that hike back. Probably can even skip lunch today with all that food. I love how minimalist hammock camping is. I already know this is probably going to take me like 5 minutes to pack this away. In fact, I'm going to start a timer. We'll see. And time. Not bad. A little room for improvement. Well, I got all my trash packed out. Also found a few cans in a bottle that I can throw away. Hopefully I can find a way to fit this. Just strap some things onto the outside of my backpack. There we go. With that, we're good to go. What a cool place to get to explore. Not only this trestle, but all these mountains and forests. Such a beautiful area. Thanks so much for coming along, and until the next one.